Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to this movie review. Tonight we're looking at the very bizarre yet very wonderful Incubus, which was released recently by Arrow Films. This edition is the first edition. It comes with a slipcase, comes with a Blu-ray disc, it comes with an advert for Trick or Treat, which is pretty cool, and it comes with a little sort of booklet, essays booklet. Now, this is a 1966 film, so before we get into it, let's have a look and see if there's any special features. So this is the main menu for Incubus on Arrow Video. Let's have a look at the special features. We have commentary by David Shaw, commentary by William Shatner, commentary by Andy Taylor, Conrad Hall and William Fraker. Isolated score track, open matrix feature, words and worlds, Incubus and Esperanto in cinema, Internia Lingua, the history of whatever that is, Esperanto, and an interview the makers of Incubus, video trailer. So that's all the special features on the Incubus. Yeah, once again, Arrow do have some special features on their edition. Not as much as I thought it would be, because they do tend to have quite a few special features on their edition. So I'm just trying to put the slipcase back on this film, and when you look at it, you think, wow, that's loaded. It's actually not. It's just worded lot. But there is some special features on there. But this is quite an old, bit of an obscure film, if you like, although the cast would tell you different, with William Shatner as our main lead in the film. Now this is a well, let's get on to the story. Yeah, right, so this is a kind of, it's a little strange, bizarre little folk horror film from America. It is an American film, but spoke in a different language. I can't remember the name of the language. It's not Spanish, but it's very similar, like Hispanic or something like that. Let's have a little look. Language is Esperanto or Esperanto. It's, I believe it's a old language, an old language, which was going to be a language that was a universal language. So everybody in the universe, no matter what country you came from or what language you spoke, this language was supposed to be the language to be brought in, so everyone could understand each other. But I don't think it ever has. I know it's still spoken to in some places in the world, but it's not spoken widely. In fact, I think mostly, I know it sounds strange, but I think it's either French or English are the main sort of like world languages that most people have some sort of understanding of. But anyway, it's spoken in that language and it's subtitled in English. And it's about this satanic witchcraft cult living in this remote area by the coast. And the film starts off where we see one of our main characters, Kaya, played by Alison Ames, and she is an evil little, demented little soul who entices men to be sacrificed and killed. And at the beginning of the film, she's sort of like enticing this guy, and she makes him follow her like a lamb to the slaughter, if you like, to the beach in the seaside, where he has a fall and he bruises and sort of like injures his head, so he's quite not with it, and he's drunk. And she takes him down to the coast and the sea, and they're by the sea, and she's still enticing him. She's offering him her sort of sexual, um, uh, offering up her sexuality to him, if you like. And so he's enticed by this, and in the end, he sort of falls into the sea water, trips over, and she puts her foot on his head and drowns him. There's not many deaths in this film, but it doesn't need it. The horror comes in other things in this film, and so she's killed, and then we meet her sister, or yeah, I think her sister called Emile, played by Eloise Hant, and Emile is an older sort of sister, and even more evil, more like she's more like the leader of this witchcraft satanic cult, and she's sort of like directing her what to do and all this kind of thing. And she's already killed a young baby or young child this day, another guy and this guy. So she is being used by this cult to kill these people for their sick, sadistic sort of ceremonies or masses. Now, we don't see any of those really. And then we kind of meet Marco, or Mark, played by William Shatner, and his sister, Arndis, played by Anne Atmar. And now they are a peaceful sort of couple living together, a bit of a strange sort of relationship, because when I first thought them, I thought they were husband and wife, but they're not, they're brother and sister. But they're God-fearing people, and they're church sort of people, and they're very Christian, and he's got a very good soul. And Amir wants Kaya to twist his soul round, because she wants his soul because he's good, sort of thing. So Kaya then goes and sort of like interacts with Mark, and straight away he falls in love with her because she's this young, beautiful young woman. And William Shatner, seeing him in this role is quite strange because he still looks like Captain Kirk in it, but he looks really cool, quite young, and he's also speaking in this language. All the whole film is spoken in this language, and we see Elmo and Kaya doing all these sort of like plans and plots and these sort of ceremonies together. And there's one point where they're holding each other close and they're talking about the Prince of Darkness and all this sort of wonderful things that I absolutely adore. And Kaya starts to work her evil plan on Marco, William Shatner. And there's one point in the film where, quite early when they've met they meet at Mark's house, and Kaya's pretending to be lost, and so he offers her some food and stuff like that. So Arndis, his sister, brings her out some bread and stuff like this, and all of a sudden we get an eclipse in the sky where the moon shields the sun, and Arndis tells Mark tells Arndis and Kaya not to look at it because it can blind you. But Arndis' curiosity gets the better when she does look as the eclipse happens, and she gets blinded for a short period of the film. While she's trying to recover from that, Kaya and Mark's gone off with Kaya because she's already enticed him, and again, like a lamb to the slaughter, he is following her, and he's left Arndis on her alone, who has sort of lost her eyesight a little bit. That eventually comes back to her. She does meet up with Amil, the sister of Kaya, and she sort of talks to him and all this, and let them fall in love and all this sort of wonderful sort of thing. And what happens then is, sorry guys, my TV was just about to turn itself off. She starts to regain her sight. Mark doesn't fall for Kaya's sort of plans, and he says, no, I've got to come home. You come with me. You come with me. I love you and all this and sort of something coming. Anyway, something happens, and Kaya falls asleep with him talking to her about all this love and God and this sort of thing. So she falls asleep. So Mark carries her back to his house because he doesn't want to obviously stay out there. And Kaya's sister Mia sees all this and not happy with it, and wants now him to be drawn into and killed by the cult because of this. And she starts talking to Kaya, saying he's raped your soul, he's raped you, and all this sort of thing, and twisting all Kaya's thoughts round to sort of like, we need to get this Marco and get him sort of killed. So to help them, they go to a grave area where first of all we see this supposedly, I suppose, the Prince of Darkness, which is just like in this old burnt out house with a fire going on, these big massive wings on this shadow of the person in the back. It's actually quite eerie shows, but we don't actually see too much of that. But then they go to this grave area where they resurrect Incubus, who I believe is like probably their brother or something, and he's played by Milos. Yeah, what a name, eh? And he comes out and helps them to revenge Kaya, who's been her soul's been raped by Marco. So what is going on and what is happening? I want you to watch it and find out to see what's going on. If you really want to see it, it is a required film, but we'll get onto that in the final verdict. So let's have a little look at the characters first. So yes, we all know William Shatner, and he's a famous actor, and he does play it like Captain Kirk, but his character is quite cool. He's very serious and very plays it out like a play, and we'll get onto that in the final verdict as well. The characters, Alison, Kaya and Ames, played by Alison Ames and Eloise Hant, are fantastic. They're really convincing as these evil concubines, if you like, and like these sort of slaves to the Prince of Darkness, sort of eagering people's souls to the dark side and killing these men for their masses and their black masses and stuff like this. They're very convincing and very cool. And when the Incubus appears by Milos, he's very strange but very has a screen presence, which is really cool. The weakest character in the film is definitely Arndis, Mark's sister. She's very like this all the time, but unfortunately she does succumb to her end in the film. And so I'm not going to tell you too much about the film because I want you to watch it. So the characters are pretty cool, although very vague. So let's get to the final verdict. I absolutely enjoyed the film. I thought it was a cool folk horror witchcraft film. It was really cool. I'm going to score it an 8 out of 10. I can't give it any higher because it lacks so many things. And so, but 8 out of 10 is a very good score for this film. It's a very obscure title that has finally been released here by Arrow in this wonderful slipcase. And this does, you can feel that stuff. And he does make an appearance in the film. Does our goat. Yeah, he does make an appearance. Some bizarre reason, Black Phillip is like a representation of the devil in a lot of these sort of witchcraft sort of films, and he does make an appearance in this film. But I'm not going to spoil that. 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's really good, really cool. Absolutely enjoyed it. It's a strange one. It's a bit of a bizarre story, and it's a little bit everywhere and a little bit mixed up, and you're thinking what is actually going on. But when it does unfold when you play with it in your head for a while, because the film, I know this is going to sound really bizarre, but it plays out like a Shakespearean play. Not just because it's in a different language, but the way it's acted. It's almost like it's on a stage. and they're looking to the space when they're talking like this, and stuff like this, and they'll hold each other really tight, and oh my love sort of thing. It's got that sort of Romeo and Juliet sort of Shakespearean sort of play going on with the storyline with Kaya and Marco, or Mark. They call him Marco in this language, but it's spelt Mark, M-A-R-C, and it plays out like that, but with these really strong, heavy, satanic imagery within the film. The pluses of the film, it's creepy as hell. It's a little hidden gem. It's a wonderful hidden gem of a film. Although the story is a little bit mixed up, it's still, you can follow it if you just follow that simple synopsis I gave you. This is about a satanic cult that are luring these innocent people to being killed for their cult and their masses and their black mass and all this kind of thing. So innocent people of goodwill are being drawn to it, and this sort of thing. And Marco's a bit of a stronger character, so he's a bit of a harder nut to break. That's that sort of thing. And that's the synopsis, really. But like I said, there's an undergoing love story sort of appears instantly between Kaya and Mark. And that sort of like plays out like a Romeo and Juliet bit. But the film does play out like a play. If this was like a TV play or something like that, I would think, yeah, that works. It does feel like that. But I like that too, because it gives this film an extra and different sort of dimension to what a normal horror film would be. It's wonderfully shot. It's beautifully shot, which will lead to a negative in a minute. It's got some amazing scenes in there, some amazing photography sort of like ideas, and it has some wonderful witchcrafty sort of ideas in the film, which are fantastic. So there's a couple of negatives in the film. One, there is very minimal on the kill front. There is no gore to speak of, so anyone can watch this as long as you can understand it. And if you like Shakespearean plays, you probably understand it a lot more than a lot of people would, because it does play out like one. And it's the other negative is the photography itself. It's very, 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 very dark. So some scenes are a little bit hard to see because it's mostly shot in like late evening to, like I would say, like a summer's 9-10 o'clock at night sort of thing. It's quite dark to little bright areas, which leads to a lot of positives about the photography. The shadowing is very, very cool and very eerie and very spooky. It's very dramatically played out like a play. And that's what makes me feel it's like a play, because it's very dramatic and everything happens so quick. And again, in the play, if you've ever seen plays or Shakespeare, it does move, the story does move quite quick. Like a love affair will happen within minutes. Not in a progressive story like a film as such, but in a play, it automatically seems to happen. And that happens here. But it doesn't take it away from the film. It's a very cool, obscure folk horror film. I class it as a folk horror because of the subject matter of this sort of like cult in a secluded area. In this is based in America, I believe. And this cult are witchcraft orientated and very, very influenced by the satanic rites. And we have God worshipping people in there that are being victims to this cult, which is pretty much a folk horror, and it's all to do with traditions and beliefs and all this kind of wonderful things. And there are a few sort of things like that in there. Some lore will sit tight within this film, and it is difficult to find it, but you will see it, and you do see it within the film. So it's definitely worth a watch if you're into cult and witchcraft films. It's going to be right up your street. It's a very, very obscure little title, this, but I absolutely loved it, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. 8 out of 10. don't think it's going to be for everyone, guys. It's going to be for people that like the sort of quirky, obscure horror films without the gore or the violence. It's like that. It's more about the imagery rather than the violence. As you can see, this sort of cover gives it away, as we do see this satanic sort of. I think that's. I'm sure that's Emil, and she's standing on top of this rock place by the sea, and we have a Black Phillip that does appear within the film. Worth checking out if you're into that sort of film, which I am. But if you're not into that, check out some other horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzawell, I am Ice Lord, Cat Watches, Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrews, Horror House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to the lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.